Okay, let's unpack this. Have you ever really stopped to consider how deeply our actions, especially when we're dishonest, might actually reshape the very chemistry of our brains? Today, we're doing a deep dive into a question that's, well, it's both endlessly fascinating and frankly a little bit unsettling. How does deceit, and that means, actively lying to others or even just kind of deceiving ourselves, how does that fundamentally alter our brain chemistry? And, by extension, our overall well-being. We're trying to go beyond just the moral side of it here. This is really a profound psychological and neurological thing. It can trigger this whole cascade of effects. Think about stress hormones like cortisol and those mood regulators, dopamine, serotonin. Imagine being stuck in this cycle of anxiety, maybe even emotional numbing, all stemming from, well, dishonesty. So our mission for this deep dive, explore the science behind it all, unpack the kind of crazy effects deceit has on our minds, and then look at how truth, how honesty, might actually be a powerful way to heal and transform our brains, literally. If you're someone who loves getting knowledge quickly but, thoroughly, and you appreciate those aha moments, then this deep dive is definitely for you.
Yeah, and what's truly fascinating, I think, is how our brains react almost immediately. Right when we're not being honest, like this internal alarm just goes off. Our minds are constantly doing this psychological tug of war, this internal conflict. It's known as cognitive dissonance. That's the mental tightrope our brains walk when we're trying to juggle the truth with, well, a fabricated story. It creates this undeniable internal tension, and that instantly spikes our stress levels.
There was a study fairly recently showing that when we lie, it directly activates the amygdala.
Yeah, the brain's fear center, right?
Exactly, our primal fear center. And that activation, it triggers a rapid release of cortisol, our main stress hormone.
So it's almost like our brain is sounding a biological alarm, even if we don't consciously feel guilty right away. Is that what you mean by that immediate spike?
Precisely. It's a very real, measurable physiological response. And the long-term dangers of having that cortisol elevated, they're significant. If that stress response becomes chronic, happening consistently over time, it can actually damage the hippocampus. Okay, the hippocampus. That's memory and learning, isn't it?
That's right, vital for memory and learning. So damage there contributes directly to things like chronic anxiety and depression. And we're seeing this clearly in the data. Research indicates habitual liars show something like 30% higher cortisol levels than truth tellers.
Wow.
Yeah, that's a very clear scientific link. Consistent deceit and a decline in mental health.
30% higher. That's not a small difference at all.
What does that actually mean for someone's day-to-day life? Are they just constantly on edge, or does the body try to adapt somehow?
It's a huge difference, and it means a lot. Someone operating with 30% higher cortisol is essentially in this prolonged state of fight or flight. And yeah, the body tries to adapt, but it's under immense strain. And this isn't just about, big overt lies either. This psychological tug of war, it extends really powerfully to self-deception too. Think about the subtle ways we deny our own flaws, maybe rationalize bad habits.
Like telling yourself you're fine when you're actually totally burnt out. Exactly that. Those internal falsehoods, the dishonest stories we tell ourselves, they also strain the brain. They create very similar stress responses. And over time, this just erodes mental clarity, genuine self-awareness. Another study found a high percentage, something like 65% of compulsive self-deceivers also report having anxiety disorders.
65%.
Yeah, so it's not just about what you project outwards. It's about creating this, well, this toxic mental environment inside, where your own mind becomes a source of stress, not clarity.
That's a really sobering thought that our internal narratives can be so damaging.
Yeah.
But let's shift gears slightly because here's where it gets really interesting and maybe a bit alarming too. We've talked about the immediate stress, the cortisol, but what about the brain's reward system? Is there any kind of fleeting payoff to lying, even if it's bad in the long run?
Oh, absolutely. And this is crucial, really, to understanding why deceit can become so entrenched, so habitual. When we tell a lie and, get away with it, there's often this fleeting high, this sense of relief or maybe achieving something we wanted. Our brain's reward system, specifically an area called the nucleus accumbens, which is central to pleasure and motivation, it actually releases a surge of dopamine.
Dopamine, the feel-good chemical.
Exactly. Research suggests successful lies can boost dopamine there by around 20%.
20%, that's significant.
It is. It's a rush similar to how some addictive substances affect the brain. It's a powerful, though temporary, incentive. And that really helps explain why lying can become habitual so easily. Each successful deception reinforces that pathway. Makes it easier, more tempting to do it again.
So it's a classic trap, isn't it? Short-term gain leading to potentially huge long-term costs. That temporary dopamine hit must be quite seductive. But if dopamine is going up, what's happening with other important brain chemicals, like serotonin?
That's the key question, right?
Yep.
While dopamine gives that temporary boost, chronic lying seems to severely disrupt serotonin. And serotonin is absolutely crucial for mood stability, emotional regulation, just overall well-being. Studies have shown that habitual liars tend to have lower serotonin levels, maybe around 15% lower.
15%.
Yeah. And this directly correlates with increased feelings of sadness, maybe emotional numbness, and even clinical depression. So not only are they potentially feeling more stressed from the cortisol,
Right.
they're also literally feeling sadder, more disconnected, less capable of genuine joy.
And the problem just compounds itself then, doesn't it? Because low serotonin also messes with the prefrontal cortex, the brain's executive control center.
That's exactly right. It impairs its function.
And that part of the brain is essential for things like impulse control, thinking clearly, empathy.
Yes, all of those. Some neuroscience articles highlight this. So it creates this truly vicious cycle. Lying might feel easier, maybe more automatic, but genuine emotional fulfillment, happiness, the ability to have healthy relationships, that all becomes increasingly out of reach.
It's not just the chemistry then. Does it actually, over time, reshape the brain itself? Are we talking physical changes?
We are, unfortunately. fMRI scans, those detailed brain images, have revealed some pretty alarming structural impacts. Research from cognitive neuroscience suggests habitual lying can actually shrink parts of the brain, specifically the amygdala and the prefrontal cortex.
The very areas we were just talking about.
Exactly. The ones tied to emotion regulation, ethical decisions, impulse control. One study even gave a specific detail. Participants who lied frequently over just 6 months showed about a 10% reduction in amygdala volume.
A 10% reduction in 6 months. That's not insignificant at all. That's a measurable physical change.
No, it's not insignificant. It means it's not just metaphorical. It's a literal physical reduction in the parts of our brain key for emotions and rational decisions, and functionally. What this means is that telling the truth might actually become harder for these individuals. Deceit becomes more automatic, less of a conscious choice, more like a default setting.
Wow.
This kind of rewiring fosters a psychological dependence on lying. And as a direct consequence, other studies report that a significant portion, maybe 40% of chronic liars, show diminished empathy.
40%.
Their brains are literally changing in ways that make it harder to connect, to understand, to share the feelings of others.
That paints a truly bleak picture. And if we broaden the scope, the long-term consequences sound even more dire. Beyond just anxiety and depression, you mentioned increased risks for serious personality disorders, like narcissistic or antisocial behaviors.
Yes, reports in psychiatric journals have pointed to that link. It's a serious concern.
And then there's emotional numbing. That sounds quite insidious. It's not just feeling less, it's like building a wall.
That's a good way to put it. It's almost like the brain builds this protective wall, but ironically, it cuts off the very connections and genuine emotions that bring fulfillment. It leads to this disconnect from oneself, from others. It profoundly dulls relationships. Survey data suggests a large majority, maybe 70% of habitual liars report deeply strained relationships.
70%, that's huge.
It leads to profound isolation, which just compounds the mental health issues. It's this self-perpetuating feedback loop. Deceit, distress, more deceit.
And the physical toll. We touched on cortisol earlier. What does that chronic stress do to the body long term?
It's equally concerning. That chronic elevated cortisol. Studies in endocrinology have linked it to things like a 25% higher risk of cardiovascular disease, a weakened immune system.
25%.
Yeah, think about it. Your body is constantly in this state of alert. Elevated blood pressure, higher heart rate, even when there's no immediate physical threat.
Right.
And beyond that, there's significant cognitive decline. Memory problems stemming from that hippocampal damage we mentioned, they affect a large number, maybe 50%, of chronic stress sufferers, according to neurology research.
So when we put it all together, what does this mean? It means deceit doesn't just harm the mind, it quite literally jeopardizes the body, and maybe even the soul.
Absolutely. And to bring this science to life, maybe we can look at some real-world examples, not just abstract data. Think about public scandals we've all seen. There was that case, a U.S. politician whose fabricated resume just completely unraveled, cost them their career, huge public backlash.
Remember that one?
Psychological analysis, widely reported at the time, suggested their compulsive lying came from this deep-seated, dopamine-driven need for validation, for success. But the analysis also noted it ultimately led to profound paranoia, intense social isolation, which are classic signs of that serotonin depletion, that relationship strain we talked about.
So even the successful liars, the ones who seem to get away with it for a while, they eventually pay a very steep price, often internally, right? Even if they aren't caught immediately.
Absolutely. The internal cost seems inevitable. Similarly, think about corporate fraud. There was a case involving a CEO who embezzled millions. Their story was profiled, and they later admitted to just profound anxiety, debilitating guilt from the constant strain of keeping up those elaborate lies.
Wow.
These cases really demonstrate the immense personal, psychological toll, even for those who might succeed temporarily or seem okay on the surface.
And it's not just the big, dramatic, high-stakes lies either, is it? We see this playing out daily, like on social media, the subtle stuff.
Precisely. That pressure to curate a perfect online persona, it can trigger the exact same brain chemistry shifts. There was an analysis of millions of social media posts under a hashtag like hashtag authenticity. It found that a majority, maybe 60% of users, admitted to exaggerating their online personas.
60%.
Yeah. Whether it was about achievements, lifestyle, even just their mood. And a subsequent study correlated this online exaggeration with significantly higher anxiety levels among those users.
Okay.
It just underscores how curating a false self, even for likes or status, still triggers that same internal conflict, those same stress responses. Deceit's reach goes far beyond blatant lies, right into our daily digital habits.
Okay, so if deceit is so damaging, what's the antidote? What's the good news here? The really powerful news, I think, is that embracing honesty offers this incredible neurological reset. Truth-telling actively boosts serotonin, that crucial neurotransmitter. It enhances mood, improves emotional resilience, helps us feel more connected. One study found participants practicing radical honesty for just 30 days showed a 25% increase in serotonin levels and a 30% reduction in anxiety.
Oh, wow, in just 30 days.
Yeah, that's a massive positive shift in a relatively short time frame.
That's a really significant finding. It hints at our brain's amazing capacity for repair, for change. And it's not just serotonin, is it? Honest interactions also trigger oxytocin release.
Right, the love hormone or bonding hormone.
Exactly. It fosters trust, empathy, deeper human connection. Research on hormones and behavior backs this up. So honesty isn't just about avoiding the negatives. It's about actively building positive, healthy relationships with yourself and with others.
It's almost like our brains are actually designed to reward honesty, to thrive on authenticity. And this isn't just a feeling, right? Honesty literally strengthens neural pathways for integrity.
That's what the imaging studies suggest. Consistent truth-telling seems to enhance activity in the prefrontal cortex.
Our executive control center again.
Right, so it helps improve decision-making, self-control, empathy. The potential for rewiring seems very real. Participants who consistently avoided lies for, say, 3 months reported a significant increase, maybe 20%, in emotional clarity.
20% more clarity.
It's not just stopping the harm, it's actively cultivating a happier, more resilient, more connected mind.
So how do we do that? How do we actually embrace honesty more in our lives? Are there practical steps people can take?
Definitely. And this isn't just theory. There are concrete, actionable steps you can take. You could start small. Make a conscious effort to admit minor mistakes daily. Even something simple like, oops, I'm running a few minutes late. It helps build that courage muscle, rewires the default response. Another really helpful tip. Journal your lies.
Actually write them down.
Yeah, white lies, bigger ones, whatever, just the act of acknowledging them. One behavioral therapy study found this simple awareness exercise can cut lying by something like 50%.
That's practical. It forces you to become aware of your own patterns instead of just letting them run on autopilot.
Exactly. And practice self-honesty. Try to accurately name your emotions. Instead of just saying, I'm stressed, maybe dig a bit deeper. Is it really fear or frustration or overwhelm? Research on emotion suggests this precise labeling significantly boosts emotional clarity. And finally, maybe seek accountability. The value of a trusted friend, a mentor, maybe a therapist. It can be invaluable in reinforcing truth-telling. We see this effectiveness in therapy outcomes, too. High success rates in cognitive behavioral therapy for compulsive lying are often attributed to that kind of consistent external support.
That's a powerful mix. Personal insights, small actions, and external support. And it's interesting, One of our sources actually included this really insightful personal story about someone taking on this very challenge. They spent a week practicing radical honesty, like a conscious effort to avoid even white lies. And they tracked their mood, stress, clarity using journaling and a wearable stress monitor.
Oh, interesting. How did that go?
Well, they said day one was tough. Admitting a late work submission to their boss definitely spiked their cortisol, heart rate hit 90 BPM.
I can imagine.
But here's the interesting part. The boss was actually understanding.
Yeah.
And that response eased the anxiety. It showed sometimes the fear of the truth is worse than the truth itself.
Right. That initial discomfort can lead to immense relief afterwards. What else did they notice?
By day 3, they reported that just avoiding those little social media exaggerations felt really liberating. Their mood stabilized. They felt it was like a palpable serotonin boost. Day 5 was another hurdle, confessing a personal insecurity to a close friend. Risky, right?
Very.
But they said that act of vulnerability unexpectedly deepened their bond. They felt that oxytocin released that sense of connection and trust we talked about.
That's fantastic. So what were the overall results after the week?
Really remarkable. By day 7, their stress monitor showed a measurable 15% drop in cortisol.
15% down? Nice.
Yeah, and they felt noticeably sharper. Memory recall improved, probably due to less hippocampal stress. Now, they acknowledged the challenge wasn't easy. Choosing honesty definitely risked uncomfortable conversations, maybe even conflict.
Sure.
But the profound clarity, the emotional lift, undeniable.
In that personal experience, it really echoes the broader findings, doesn't it? Like that article mentioning 80% of honesty adopters report better relationships, improved self-esteem.
It's exactly. It really suggests that pushing your mind towards honesty, even when it's hard, can truly reveal its transformative power.
Yeah.
So, to kind of wrap up what we've unpacked today.
Yeah.
The science seems undeniably clear. Deceit profoundly damages our brains. Chemically, structurally, it spikes cortisol, it messes with dopamine and serotonin. It literally rewires the brain towards anxiety, depression, emotional numbing, from, shrinking critical brain areas to higher risks of mental disorders and even physical health problems, lying exacts a truly heavy toll. Yet the powerful, hopeful path to healing, to resilience, to deeper, more authentic connections, that seems available through honesty. It actively boosts serotonin, enhances empathy, and quite literally rebuilds and strengthens vital neural pathways. So we'd love to hear your story. Have you felt the weight of deceit in your own life? Or maybe experienced that remarkable lift that can come with radical honesty? Share your thoughts and experiences below. Tell us if you agree or disagree with what we've unpacked today. We really want to know what you think. And for more insights like this, insights that expand your understanding of the mind and well-being, we really encourage you to visit Mind Expansion Daily.
Yeah, great resource.
They have a wealth of fantastic information, much like what we've discussed here, helping you gain knowledge quickly but thoroughly. And hey, if you found this deep dive valuable, please make sure to like and subscribe to Mind Expansion Daily. You'll get more profound insights delivered directly to you. The science is compelling, deceit damages, but honesty rebuilds. Let's choose truth for healthier minds.